All right, and hello, and welcome to episode 7 of TA Brews TV. I'm Mark, and I'm here with Ryan Ponto, also from Transatlantic Brews. How you doing, Ryan?
Good. How are you, Mark?
Very good, thank you. Very good. I very much enjoyed our pre-recording reading of the glasses, just keeping around.
It's a very nice one. It's crystal.
It is nice, yeah. I'm enjoying that. We do the bring out your dead thing again? Or
Yes.
Bring
Bring out your dead. Anyone likes Monty Python.
Although theirs sounded more blunt when they did it, so it needs to sound more cruddy. I guess we need to go get a different glass.
Get something made out of glass, I guess, not crystal.
Yeah.
That
Anyway.
sounded quite snobby, actually. Oh, no,
Yeah,
it's
it
glass.
it really did.
Oh,
Anyway, so what beer have you got for us this week, Ryan?
I think it was 2 weeks ago, I did another Phillips one, but now I've got the Longboat Chocolate Porter.
Cool. Very good.
I've had it before. It's one of my favorites, actually, locally. It's brewed in Victoria, so local brewery and local goodness. Yeah,
One of my favourite Canadian brewers as well. Like a good Phillips beer. Very good. I have a beer from a company called Harbour Brewing Company based in North Cornwall, and it's their India Pale Ale at 5.2%. So, yeah, they're very much a craft brewer down in North Cornwall. But I managed to pick this up in a supermarket, actually, so it's pretty easy to get hold of. So I guess they're big enough to have made it into Sainsbury's supermarket, which is a major supermarket over this way. But yeah, they're a small brewer down in North Cornwall, very much inspired by their landscape and surroundings of beautiful North Cornwall. So looking forward to trying this one. Do you want to crack open first, or shall I?
I'll give it a go this week.
Cool. All right. Let's get going.
All right.
Nice steady hand.
Mm-hmm. And just I want a little more foam. There we go.
Good.
It's got a nice bouquet of different roasty smells.
Cool.
Some caramel in there, some butterscotch maybe, bit of vanilla, slight bit of roasted malt grain, that sort of thing. Pretty standard. It's a nice little tail end of chocolate there. Brings up the sweetness a bit on the malts. It's quite good.
Very good.
Very good. Good. No, I didn't get a bad one this time. The chocolate really comes out in the initial go of it. And just the sweetness just coats your mouth.
Yeah.
And then the malt almost sucks it back in a little bit, and then gives you that sort of roasty flavor in your mouth. Coats actually pretty lightly for a porter. It could do with a bit more of a heavier feel, but it's pretty light. It's very desserty actually. It's a bit smoky as well on the tail end, which I had that smoked porter last week. And I didn't quite enjoy it. This one has just like it's just like a hint of smoke, which actually is really good. It actually improves it in my flavor. I think the one is just a bit heavy for my palate anyway.
Well, we're definitely getting more into stout and porter season.
Mm-hmm. It's coming up to it.
Yeah, certainly it's a bit chilly tonight here. Don't know what it's like your way, but
it's still pretty sunny during the day. It's a bit hot still when up until about 3 o'clock and starts cooling off. Once you get to 9, it's getting close to 0.
Yeah. Porter weather.
What's that?
Porter weather.
Yes. It's a good one. I like it. I would actually. This is the 3rd time in a week I've had this one. I would drink it again. Of course. Yeah.
Becoming a firm favourite.
What's that?
Becoming a firm favourite then.
It is. Oh, one nice thing about it though, if you really like having it with dessert, on the Phillips website they have a full recipe book in digital format
Cool.
for all the different beers. So there's for this one, there's 2 or 3 different desserts you can make with the beer.
Yeah.
And they have ones for breakfast even. There was like the Phoenix one with the pancakes, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And everything from appetizers right down to, lunch, dinner, dessert, everything.
Sounds brilliant. So are they recommending that you make the meal with the beer and then enjoy the beer with it? Is that the idea, or
it's not really clear? It's just saying that you use the beer to make the whatever the item is that you're making.
Yeah.
And I'd suppose drinking the beer with it wouldn't hurt either.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it's made with the beer, the flavor's got to be in there for it, I guess.
Sounds logical to me. I mean, I think it's nice to see a brewery really flying the flag for beer with food, because obviously wine really dominates in that area, but there's absolutely no reason why, with the diverse range of beers and flavors that you can achieve through beer out there, that shouldn't carry through into more of a full culinary kind of experience as well. So it's nice to see. I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Awesome.
Anyway,
all right,
on to yours. What do you got?
Moving on. So, so I'm going to crack on my IPA from Harbour Brewing Company. Very much looking forward to this. It's, from what I've seen online, it's predominantly American hop driven. So, expecting something of a modern take on a British style. So, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, he's off slightly. Foam's up pretty good.
It's quite lively.
Yeah, does seem quite lively straight out. Leave myself a bit of room for the aroma. It's quite nicely packaged. I like their website as well. They're just going on there, that video they've got of sort of giving you an idea of the sort of landscape and surroundings that they're inspired by. It's a nice touch.
Yeah, it's quite nice. It's a very relaxing video, actually, after having watched it.
Well worth a watch if for anybody watching. harbourbrewing.com, spelt the British way with the U in harbour. Pleasant American hop aroma. Slightly floral, actually, with notes of citrus and grapefruit in there as well. Yeah, lots of that grapefruit element. There was some light pininess. I'm guessing this is kind of Cascade or Chinook or maybe Amarillo or something along those lines as the predominant hop, but not entirely certain. I couldn't get that information, but those are the kind of characters I'm getting. There's a light creamy, almost vanilla element about it as well, which is maybe from the malts, but we'll see. Cheers.
Cheers.
Lovely, solid, biscuity malt character. Much more in the British vein of an IPA from that perspective, that malt backbone that you might expect from either a British IPA or an East Coast IPA in North America. Wraps pleasantly around the mouth, builds slowly the bitterness, and then there's this kind of crescendo of bitterness at the end that really fills out the palate. Lovely, pleasant bitterness. Definitely an American hop bitterness, but it's well balanced. That malt backbone, that biscuity kind of malt backbone, really eases everything out. You've got that lovely sweetness up front. It builds very, very slowly, but it's a lovely dry bitter finish. Not too overpowering, nothing too crazy, but it's a lovely take on a British style. So you would definitely say that this was a British IPA that's been given a touch of American hop kind of panache. Is that the word?
Panache, maybe.
Panache, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. But it still retains true to the elements of its roots as well. So it's really good, really well balanced. You know, certainly gets my vote. Lovely.
Sounds great.
Actually, food wise, since you mentioned food, I had a curry for dinner, and actually these types of beers, India Pale Ales, generally, particularly when they've got a little of that bit of that robust malt backbone as well in the British vein, really good with Indian food. So if you're looking for a good food match with India Pale Ale, those hops and that bitterness and that fresh citrus character of the American hops actually really helps to kind of cut through the strong flavors of a hot curry. Really complements and plays with the spices very nicely. So it's a good match. Well recommended.
Sounds like you've got a complete pairing there tonight.
Yes, yeah. I didn't actually didn't plan for that, but it worked out well.
That's a little surprise.
I mean, it's the first. I think it's the first time I picked this up. Actually, it kind of escaped my glare in the supermarket, but well worth picking up and well recommended if you can get your hands on it. I'd seek it out again. It's a good buy. Solid IPA.
Excellent. Hopefully, I can get it over here someday.
Yeah, I don't know whether they ship over there at all. Who knows? I mean, there seems to be a growing amount of, I suppose, imports over there. Is there a growing amount of imports? Would you say, or?
Well, in my area anyway, most liquor stores have gone to local breweries more often than not. I mean, you still do get there's a section of imported beer, but it's not as large as it used to be. Like it's difficult to find Fullers anymore in most of the places that are around here. The BC liquor store still carries it, which is the government run, but all the independent ones,
right?
They pretty much don't have any sort of UK beer except for some of your more standard ones like Innocent Gun that's really popular throughout Canada as is.
Yeah.
And they've got Sam Smith as well. Right. And those are really the two main ones that they carry any sort of decent selection of.
I suppose that sort of makes sense because although a lot of the craft brews over there were initially influenced by the older styles from Europe, as more and more of craft brewers have really taken off in North America, they've really kind of built their own version of it, and maybe that makes a lot of the imports maybe less relevant than they used to be. When craft brewing wasn't as big, I suppose that was really where people were getting their inspiration from. But now I suppose it's grown to a point where there's perhaps less of a demand because the local ones are doing so well, and that's great because one of the great things about beer is that regionality and that sense of place and localness. So that's good.
I can totally say that is happening a lot because went to an event a couple weeks ago called Beerlesque, which we've discussed a few times since I've went to it.
Yeah.
So it's basically, for anyone who hasn't looked into that, it's a craft beer sort of mini festival, if you like, with a burlesque show.
As you do.
Yeah, why not? It sells out. It's happened 5 years, and they've sold it every year now.
Yeah.
So they're doing something right. But anyway, you get a little sample cup. It's one of those little mini ones, are like 4 ounces or so. You go around to the different brewers and say, "I'll take a bit of that. I'll take that. Maybe one of those."
Yeah.
And then you basically drink until your heart's content at that point. But all the brewers that were there were local. Yeah. And more than half of them were from Vancouver alone. Like the brewery's actually located within Vancouver somewhere. And there's one that was from Ontario called Steam Whistle, and they just have one beer. Seemed a bit odd but I mean, Steam Whistle is a Canadian thing, and it's not particularly good. It's not horrible, but but everyone else was Vancouver or in the immediate surrounding areas of Vancouver.
Right.
It was good to see that there's just so many people that are available for that are making stuff locally. It's good.
That's great. I mean, I'm probably a little bit out of touch with it these days, but back when I was living over there, I remember Central obviously being quite big, and I remember people like Russell Brewing Company and obviously Granville Island and things like that. And then Phillips started to kind of come through a little bit more. I started to notice them a little bit more. I mean, Phillips are kind of one of the older players anyway, but I'm guessing I'm guessing there's a lot more choice than there was back when I was there.
Yeah, I mean it's been what, about 5-6 years since you've lived in Canada, something like that.
In terms of living there full time, I suppose it must be getting on for that. Yeah. I mean, I came back quite regularly for a while, and I certainly saw it grow over that period when I was doing a bit of time in both. I pretty much spent like half my year in the UK and half my year in Canada, and during that time in particular, it really started to grow because back when it was just sort of Granville Island, all this, that, and the other, it wasn't really that too exciting. The whole Granville Island thing, I never really took to their beer. But when I discovered Phillips in particular, that's when I think I started to get kind of excited about Canadian beers, and it seems like it's just grown and snowballed from there, really, and it's just getting bigger and bigger, which is great. And obviously taking a note out of the States book in a way, really. Yeah,
and there's actually, this is pretty notable for that event. There was one brewer that was open 4 months prior to showing up at Beerlesque. Only 4 months. It was Callister Brewing, and I was actually quite impressed with the beer they had.
Oh, really?
For being a very new, literally brand new brewery.
So new,
yeah. It was quite encouraging to see that we're getting quite a lot of choice and quite a lot of good choice, not just choice for the sake of it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I suppose over here we've had microbreweries in terms of cask ale producers growing really solidly over the last 10 years, but then the biggest change recently is over the last sort of 3 to 4 years that the whole London brewing scene finally took off. A lot of it's very American influenced, but it is bringing a new dynamic to the British brewing scene. So it's just funny, isn't it, just to see how, and ultimately all of it stems from the kind of the growth of craft ale in America. Predominantly starting in California and really growing from there, but. It's massive, and it's only getting bigger and bigger, and more choice, and that's better for us.
Yeah,
cheers.
You're everywhere. Cheers.
Indeed. So, well, I guess that's that for this week then. So, two cracking beers, two very different but very, very good beers.
I would say so.
Solid. So thank you very much for watching. This has been TA Brews TV episode 7. If you'd like to learn more about us, you can head over to transatlanticbrews.com. We have a free giveaway for any of our new subscribers over there. It's called the Beer Geek Toolkit, and it comes with 5 essentially sets of advice or tools to help bolster your beer drinking experience right out of the box. So head over there, subscribe and grab your Beer Geek Toolkit, and including in that you'll hear more about episodes of TA Brews TV as well. So here's to beer. Cheers.
Cheers.